Welcome to Eduvina Physics classes. I am SR sir. So I'll be giving today the solutions related to the physics assignment which I have given for especially for the NEET 2020 aspirants. So you can download the PDF of the assignment from the Telegram channel link given in the description, and do also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for further lecture videos on physics, chemistry and maths. And you can download our app which is available on Play Store. The app is named as Eduvina. So I have given a physics assignment on especially keeping the NEET 2020 in mind, and I want to solve that assignment today. So we'll be solving the physics assignment today. There were 10 sums in the assignment, so we'll go one by one and find the detailed simplified solution to every sum. So let us proceed. So the first sum was given as the x and y coordinates of the particle at any time are x equal to 5t minus t square and y equal to 10t respectively, where x and y are in meters and t is in seconds. Then the acceleration of the particle at t equal to 2 seconds is asked for. So 4 options are given: A 5 meter per second square, B minus 4 meter per second square, C minus 8 meter per second square, and D is 0 meter per second square. So how to solve this sum? Let us see. So the solution of the first sum. So we have these two things given in the question: x equal to 5t minus 2t square and y equal to 10t. So this was in the question, there was t square only. It is a mistake in the question. It will be 2t square. So I have given a mark over here. So x is 5t minus 2t square rather than 5t minus t square, and y equal to 10t. Sorry for the mistake. So these two are given. So if we differentiate these two with respect to time, what we will get? We will get the velocity. So Vx, the x component of the velocity, is dx dt. So differentiating this with respect to time gives me 5 minus 40 meter per second, and differentiating this with respect to time gives me dy dt with respect to time gives me 10 meter per second. So this is the y component of velocity. So we have got the velocities. Now what about the acceleration? It is simply one step more derivative with respect to time. So further differentiating this with respect to time, that is this and this are differentiated further more with respect to time. So the acceleration ax equal to dvx dt, that is equal to the second derivative of x. So d square x dt square, that is equal to, this is minus 4, as because this is the constant and ddt of t is 1. So as this was obtained, this is the constant, so 5, and this 2 comes just ahead of t, so 2 into 2 gives 4, gives me 4, and 2 minus 1 gives me t only, t to the power 1, that is t. Similarly this one, this is minus 4 and this is a constant, so 0. So minus 4 meter per second square. Simply calculus differentiation, and ay is dvy dt, that is equal to the second derivative of this thing, d square by dt square, that is equal to, this is a constant, so it is 0. So ax is minus 4 and ay is 0. So what is a? A is basically ax, because ay has no contribution, it is 0. So a is minus 4 meter per second square. So the correct option is B. B is the correct option over here. Okay. So now the next sum number 2. So two blocks A and B of masses 3m and m respectively are connected by a massless and inextensible string. The whole system is suspended by a massless spring as shown in the figure. I'll show the figure. The magnitudes of acceleration of A and B immediately after the string is cut are, four options are given: g by 3 g, g g, g by 3 g by 3 and g by 3. So the figure is this one. This A is hanged from a spring, A is suspended from a spring, from a rigid support, and from A, B is just supported, just hanged. B is just hanged from A without any spring. So this is the given figure. So let us see how to solve it. So this is the given figure. So as it is a spring, we have to assume a spring constant, otherwise we cannot proceed. So we assume a spring constant of this spring as K. So this is the spring constant of this spring. A has mass 3m, B has mass m. So at first the free body diagram of this, what will be the free body diagram of this? Before the string is cut, that is at this position, what will be the free body diagram? If a mass is suspended from a spring, it will elongate. So a restraining force will act. We all know this. So for A, for this 3m mass, the gravitational force of this mass will act downwards, so 3mg. And the restoring force to bring the spring, as the spring is elongated, a restoring force acts within the spring, which tends the mass to bring back in its original position. The spring tends to bring back the mass to its original position. So the restoring force tending to do that is Kx, we all know this. And the tension just counteracting this is T in the opposite direction. So these three things are acting on 3m mass. What about this one? So the mass m, that is number B block, the mass m, for the mass m, tension T acts upwards as because the gravitational force mg acts downwards. So this thing happens when the string is not cut yet. Now the string is cut. After the string is cut, what happens? This mass has the restoring force Kx, which acted upwards. As because the string is cut, no tension will act on the string, so T is 0. So this T vanishes. So only Kx upwards and 3mg downwards is left. So an acceleration acts upwards, tending to bring the spring back to its original position, as because the spring exerts a restoring force which tends to bring back the block A to its original position. So in that case, an acceleration A to the subscript A will occur. And for B, when the string is cut, then it will just free fall. So for here acceleration AA occurs, and here acceleration AB occurs. Here only mg, the downward force, will act. The tension T is 0 as because the string is cut. So there will occur a free fall over here for B. So before string is cut, we have this two sum is equal to Kx. Kx equal to T plus 3mg. There was no acceleration present over here. After the string is cut, there is acceleration, as because there was an equilibrium state over here. You are elongating the spring, the spring also exerts a restoring force, it comes back to the original position. Same for B. So it was in equilibrium. But when you cut the spring, the equilibrium is lost. So an acceleration comes into play. So these two acceleration are taken into account, and the tension in the string, as because the string is cut, vanishes over here. So before the string is cut, we have the downward force is equal to the upward force, that is T plus 3mg equal to Kx, is 1, equation 1, and here T is equal to mg, equation 2. After the string is cut, this upward force is greater than the lower force. That's because the acceleration acts upwards. The upward force is always greater than the lower force over here. Hence the acceleration acts upwards. So kx minus 3 mg will do. That equals the mass into acceleration. What is the mass? 3 into m. There is the force. Mass into acceleration is the force. This is the net force acting upwards. Kx minus 3 mg. The net force acting upwards over here is 3m into a. And over here the mass into acceleration is m into ab, equal to the mass into the gravitational force acting downwards is mg. So we get AB equal to gm meter per second square. So this is a free fall case where AB is equal to g. So this, after solving these two equations, we get from 1 and 2 kx equal to 4 mg. We substitute mg over here. T is equal to mg. So here we write mg. So mg plus 3 mg gives me 4 mg. So kx equal to 4 mg. This is equation number 3. So using 3 from 4, we will get mg equal to 3ma. So the acceleration is aa is equal to g by 3 meter per second square. So you have got ab equal to g and a equal to g by 3. So the correct option is option A. So the correct option here is this one, option A, g by 3 and g. Clear? Okay. Let us proceed. Sum number 3. What it is told? It is told that two disks of same moment of inertia rotating about their regular axis, passing through center and perpendicular to the plane of disk with angular velocities omega 1 and omega 2, they are brought into contact face to face, coinciding the axis of rotation. The expression for the loss of energy, that is the kinetic energy, during this process is, 4 options are given. 1 by 4 I omega 1 minus omega 2 whole square. Number B is I omega 1 minus omega 2 whole square. C is 1 by 8 I omega 1 minus omega 2 whole square. And D is 1 by 2 I omega 1 plus omega 2 whole square. So how to solve this? Let us see. Let us see. So we have got two disks with different angular momentum, but two disks are similar nature disks. That is, two disks have the same nature. See this. Two disks of same moment of inertia. So the moment of inertia of the two disks are same, but the angular velocities are different. So the angular momentum from formula L equal to I omega. So for the first disk, L1 equal to I omega 1, L2 equal to I omega 2. Now when the two disks are placed one upon the other, such that the axis of the rotation passes through their center, perpendicular to their center, perpendicular to the plane of the disk, through the center of them, then the net torque is 0. So the net torque over here is 0 and the angular momentum remains conserved. So these two things have to be kept in mind. So these things are important. So what happens? The net torque is 0. So as the net torque is 0, the angular momentum is conserved. So because there is a relation dl dt is proportional to the torque. So as the rate of change of momentum is 0, so the angular momentum is conserved. So L is conserved. So the initial momentum is basically the sum of the angular momentum of the two disks, that is the sum of these two. So I omega 1 plus I omega 2, and the final momentum of the two disks as a whole is 2I omega. Let the angular frequency of the two disks as a whole is omega, and the angular momentum, when we are calculating the angular momentum of the two disks as a whole, what will be the moment of inertia of the two disks? It will simply be 2i. So it will simply be 2i. So this is the 2i. So this is the final angular momentum. This is the final angular momentum, and this is the initial angular momentum. So this is the angular momentum is conserved. So Li, this is equal to this. So final equal to initial angular momentum. So this equal to this. From this we get omega equal to omega 1 plus omega 2 by 2. This is 1. So omega is basically the arithmetic mean of the two frequencies. Now the initial kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is half I omega square. So what will the initial kinetic energy of these two? Half I omega 1 square plus half I omega 2 square from formula. And the final kinetic energy is half into I, here is 2I basically, of the two disk as a whole, and the frequency is omega square. So it is basically I omega square. So the loss in kinetic energy means initial minus final. So loss, as because we are calculating the loss, we are doing initial minus final. So loss in kinetic energy is kinetic initial minus kinetic final energy. That is equal to this thing minus this thing. Okay. So I by 2 is taken common. The omega 1 square plus omega 2 square minus omega square, we are replacing it from equation 1. So 2 comes out and we are left with a 2, as because this is a square. So there is a 4 over here, a 4 would occur, 2 is taken out and 2 remains. Now just do the LCM, apply a plus b whole square formula and we will get this. So I by 4 omega 1 minus omega 2 whole square. So the correct option will be option A. So the correct option is option A, this one. Okay. So this is an important sum. Okay. Let us proceed to the next sum. Number 4. So this is a sum on the Doppler's effect. So number 4 tells, sum number 4 tells two cars moving in opposite directions approach each other with speed of 22 meter per second and 16.5 meter per second. The driver of the first car blows a horn having a frequency of 400 Hz, and the frequency heard by the driver of the second car is asked. So the frequency heard by the driver of the second car is asked, where the velocity of sound is 340 meter per second. This is standard value. So 4 options are given: A 361 Hz, B 411 Hz, C 448 Hz, and D 350 Hz. Okay. So let us solve it. So this is the standard formula, comes from the Doppler effect mathematical calculations. So where n prime or n dashed is the apparent frequency which the listener hears, and n is the frequency of the source. So n, the source emits the sound of some frequency, this is n, and the listener listens that sound at some apparent frequency, that is n dashed. Now if the listener is going, then it will have a velocity which is vl. If the listener is moving, then it has a velocity vl. If the source is moving, it has a velocity vs. So this is the formula n prime equal to v minus vl by v minus vs into n, where v is the velocity of sound. So this formula acknowledges, or this formula is valid for this case, where the source and the listener is going in the same direction, either in left hand or right hand, whatever, upwards, downwards, it doesn't matter, but the source and the listener are going in the same direction, then this formula holds good. This is the formula for this case. But here what happens? Two cars are moving in opposite direction. So let car A be the source, let car B be the listeners. So we have assumed that the source is car A and the listener is car B. They are moving in opposite direction. So this thing is not valid over here. See, the listener, the movement of the listener is in the opposite direction as of this. So What change will occur in this formula? Here the listener was going away from the source, but here the listener is going towards the source. So here an additional minus would occur as because the direction of the listener is reversed. If it had not been so, then this formula would have been applied. But as the direction of the listener is reversed, so we'll have to put a negative sign in front of this VL. So the formula for this case, for our sum, in this case is n prime equal to V minus of minus VL due to this reversing of direction towards the source, and this is the same as this one. So this is same towards the listener, so it is untouched. So this is remain unaltered. So V minus Vs into n. So what is this V plus VL? What is this V minus Vs into n? So V is 340 VL. The listener is having a source. The listener have a velocity 16.5, and this is 340. The source velocity is 22, as because this car A is emitting the sound, and here it is told that the driver of the first car, that is the car A, blows a horn with frequency 400 Hz. So that is the source. Car A is the source, and the frequency heard by the driver of the second car means it is the listener. The second car is the listener, and with velocity VL. So with that thing in mind, we have taken the values as such. VL and VS are 16.5 and 22 respectively, and AN is 400, the frequency of the sound emitted by car A or the source. So after calculation, we get the value of N dash, that is the apparent frequency heard by the listener or car B, as 448 Hz. So this is nearly 448 Hz. So this matches with option C. So this is the correct answer. Now sum number 5. What it is told? A 100 μF capacitor is to have an energy content of 50 joules in order to operate a flash lamp. The voltage required to charge the capacitor is 500 volt, 1000 volt, 1500, that is 1500 volt, and 2000 volt. So let us solve this sum. It is an easy sum. Let us solve it. So we have given the capacitance as 100 μF microfarad and energy is 50 joules. So we know from the formula that energy stored in a capacitor is half CV square, where V is the voltage across the plates of the capacitor. So from this formula, what will be V? V is basically root under 2E by C. So 2 into 50 by C is 100. Micro means 10 to the power minus 6 farad. So 100 into 10 to the power minus 6. So that gives me 1000 volt. So option B is the right answer. So this is the right answer. Option B, 1000 volt. Sum number 6. A doubly ionized Li2 plus ion, that is lithium ion, in ground state absorbs 91.8 electron volt of energy, that is EV of energy. Find the increase in the angular momentum of the electron. Take H equal to 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. So 4 options are given. A, 2.11 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. B, 3.16 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. C, 1.05 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. D, 4.22 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. So let us solve this. So the solution of sum number 6. The energy difference is given as 91.8 eV. So absorbing this energy, the transition occurs. That is, the electron jumps from the ground state to the fast excited state. So in doing so, what will be the increase in the angular momentum? So we have to find the increase in the angular momentum. So the transition occurs For doubly ionized lithium ion, the transition occurs after absorbing this energy from n equal to 1 to n equal to 2 level. That is from n equal to 1 to n equal to 2 level. After absorbing this energy, transition occurs. So, from Bohr's first postulate, we know the angular momentum is some integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So, L is equal to nh by 2 pi, where n is some integral values. So, for n equal to 2, what will happen? 2h by 2 pi, that is the angular momentum of this level. And the angular momentum of n equal to 1 level is Li equal to h by 2 pi. Just by changing the value of n, we will get this 2. So, what is the difference which is asked? The increase is basically the difference, this minus this, that is equal to h by 2 pi. We'll put the values and we get the answer. So 1.05 into 10 to the power minus 34 joules second. So option C is the correct answer. So this is the correct answer, option C. Clear? Let us proceed. Sum number 7. A circuit diagram is given. Calculate the current I drawn from the 5 volt source. So this is the circuit given. 4 options are given: 0.33 ampere, 0.5 ampere, 0.67 ampere, 0.17 ampere. So how to find the current from this circuit drawn from this 5 volt source? Let us see. So this is the circuit given. Now we have to simplify the circuit. Now watch carefully. These 2 points are to be noted, this point and this point. So the current is coming from this positive terminal going like this. Now it has 2 paths. Either it can go like this from by 10 ohm to 20 ohm and come back, or it can go like this, 5 ohm, 10 ohm and can come like, and it can go like 5 ohm, 10 ohm and come back to 5 volt. So this 10 ohm current is not passing through this 10 ohm resistance. So we have seen that visually, right? This 10 ohm is not taking part in this current contribution. So one path is like this, 10 ohm to 20 ohm and return. Another path is 5 ohm, 10 ohm and return. So we can just simplify this circuit keeping these 2 points in mind. So this 10 ohm and this 5 ohm are in parallel, as because here the branching occurs. One path is this one and another path is this one. So branching occurs from this point. So 10 ohm and 5 ohm are parallel, and this 20 ohm and 10 ohm are also parallel. So this 10 ohm resides over here. This is the junction between these 2. This is one path and this is another path, this one. So between these 2 paths, the junction is basically this thing. These 2 points gives the junction consisting this resistance 10 ohm. So this AB is this 10 ohm resistance basically. So we see that yes, the current is not passing through this resistance. How? We have learned about the Wheatstone bridge. So R1 by R2 is equal to R3 by R4. Here we will see the 10 by 20 is equal to 10 by 20 is equal to 5 by 10. So Wheatstone bridge is balanced. So no current passes through this. No current passes through this AB. So we can just remove this 10 ohm resistance. So we'll be left with this. So no current flows through AB. So we have this. So these 2 are in series, these 2 are in series. So 20 plus 10 gives me 30, 5 plus 10 gives me 15. So 30 and 15 ohm resistance are in parallel. So the equivalent resistance is 30 into 15, R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So 30 into 15 by 30 plus 15 gives me 10 ohm. And the voltage is 5 volts. So from Ohm's law we get the current as V by R equal to 5 by 10 equal to 0.5 ampere. So option B is the correct answer. So option B, 0.5 ampere is the Correct answer. Clear? Sum number 8. 4 cells each of EMF 2 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm are connected as shown in figure. Find the 3 currents I1, I2 and I3. This is the circuit given. We want to find the I1, I2 and I3 currents. Okay. So the options for these questions are 0.8 ampere, 0.4 ampere, 0.4 ampere, 0.5 ampere, 0.25 ampere, 0.25 ampere, 8 by 13 ampere, 4 by 13 ampere, 4 by 13 ampere, and none of this. So let us solve this sum. So the solution to sum number 8. So we have the circuit given like this, where see this 1 ohm, 1 ohm, 1 ohm and 1 ohm are internal resistances of these sources, these 4 sources. So these are resistances which will come into play. So we will draw these 1 ohm resistances separately to make things easy. So we draw 1 ohm resistances. So this is the circuit. Kirchhoff's voltage law will be applied to loops 1, this loop, this rectangle ABCD, and this loop, this mesh, number 2 loop. So applying KVL to ABCD loop. Now the mechanism of KVL is explained over here. If you go from negative to positive terminal, that is, there will be a rise in potential, so we will take a positive value. If we are going from positive to negative direction in case of a source, then we will get a negative value. What will be the current? What will be the expression when we will go along with the current? So if there is a resistance R and a wire is there, and some circuits are present over here, just we are looking at this part. So current is flowing in this direction. So we are going with the current. Then we'll get a minus IR. Okay, that is minus V. And if that is a potential drop, and if we are going opposite to the direction of the current, that is in this direction, then we'll get plus IR. Okay, so keeping this in mind, we apply the KVL to ABCD loop, that is loop 1. So we start from this point. We go in this direction, left hand side. So we'll start from 2 volt. So negative to positive 2. We are going with the direction of the current I2. So that means we'll get a minus value with all of this. So minus 3 I2, 2 plus 1 gives me minus 3. Current is I2. This is negative to positive, so plus 2. This is, we come like this. Now we are going opposite to the current I3. So positive to negative gives me minus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. As we are going opposite to the current gives me plus. So plus 3, the current is I3. This is positive to negative, so minus 2. This is again plus 3, and the current is I3. And again we go in the direction of the current I2. This thing is left, so 3 minus 3, and the current is I2 equal to 0. So this is the equation for loop number 1. Simplifying this, we get I2 equal to I3. This is equation 1. Similarly, we apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law in loop 2, in this loop. So we start with this 2 volt. So negative to positive 2 minus, we are going with the current I3. So 2 plus 1 gives me minus 3 I3. The current is I3. From negative to positive gives me plus 2. We come in this direction with I1. With I1 we are going. So minus 5 I1. Again we are returning and going through loop 1, where we are going along I3. So 2 plus 1 gives me minus 3i3 equal to 0. So simplifying this, we get 4 minus 6i3 minus 5i1 equal to 0. And the current I1 is basically the sum of I2, algebraic sum of I2 and I3 from Kirchhoff's current law. So I1 equal to I2 plus I3. All currents meet at a junction. So I1 equal to I2 plus I3. So these three equations we are getting. So this one, and this one. So from this equation, we are getting, using this, I1 equal to I2 plus I3 is I2. So sorry, I2 is I3. So I3 plus I3 gives me 2I3. So I1 equal to 2I3. So I2 equal to I3 and I1 equal to 2I3. So using these three things, from 2 we are getting 4 minus 6I3 minus 10I3. From this we are getting I3 as 0.25 ampere. So I3 is similar to I2, same, equal to I2. So I2 is also 0.25 ampere. And I1 is basically 2 times this, that is 0.5 ampere, for the sum of these two, that is 0.5 ampere. So these three are the required current values. Okay, so the option B is the correct answer. So this option is the correct answer. Okay, sum number 9. A gaseous mixture consists of 16 gram of helium and 16 gram of oxygen. The ratio Cp by Cv, that is basically gamma, of the mixture is 1.59, 1.62, 1.4 or 1.54. So let us solve it. So we know gamma, the ratio of Cp by Cv. Now gamma has a formula as 1 plus 2 by f. F is the degree of freedom. So gamma is 1 plus 2 by f. Now helium is monoatomic, so f is 3. So from this formula we are getting gamma 1 equal to 5 by 3. Oxygen is diatomic, so f is 5. So gamma 2 is 7 by 5. Now from formula we get Cv equal to R by gamma minus 1. So for helium, Cv1 equal to R by gamma 1 minus 1. This formula is derived from the thermodynamics, the first law of thermodynamics. So this formula is derived from there. So using this formula, we get the Cv of helium as 3 by 2R, where we put gamma 1 as 5 by 3. Similarly for oxygen, we get R by gamma 2 minus 1 Cv2. Putting this gamma 2 as 7 by 5, we get 5 by 2R. So Cv is basically N1 Cv1 by N2 Cv2 by N1 plus N2. The formula of Cv, from this Cv1 and Cv2, we can get the Cv as N1 Cv1 plus N2 Cv2 by N1 plus N2, where this N are basically the mole fraction. So N is basically the atomic weight by the molecular weight. So for helium, N1 is basically 16 by 4, that is equal to 4. And for oxygen, N2 is 16 by 32, that is equal to half. These are the mole fractions. So putting this N1 into and putting these Cv values, we get Cv as 29R by 18. So we know Cv equal to R by gamma minus 1. So gamma is R by Cv plus 1. So the Cv is this. We put Cv as here Cv, we put Cv as 29R by 18. So R into 18 by 29 by 29R plus 1. So this calculation gives me 1.62. So option B is the correct option. This is the correct option. Number 10. Monochromatic light of wavelength lambda gets refracted from vacuum to a medium of refractive index mu. The ratio of wavelengths of the incident and refracted wave is A 1 is to mu, B 1 is to 1, C mu is to 1, and D is mu square is to 1. So let us solve this question. So we know the solution of this question number 10. we know refractive index mu equal to C by V from formula. For vacuum, refractive index is 1. So mu by 1 equal to C by V basically. So C is equal to V is basically equal to n lambda. So C is equal to basically n lambda as well. The velocity is basically equal to n lambda. So lambda incident is lambda I and lambda refracted is lambda r. So n lambda I by n lambda r from formula. So n gets cancelled and lambda I by lambda r. So lambda I by lambda r is mu by n. So lambda I by lambda r is mu by 1. So lambda I is to lambda r is mu is to 1. So option C is the correct answer. So this is the correct option, mu is to 1. Option C is the correct answer, mu is to 1. So this is all for the physics assignment which I had given. You can download the physics assignment from our Telegram channel link that will be given in the description box. You subscribe to our, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for various lecture videos and doubt clearing classes, assignments, solutions regarding to boards and joint for physics, chemistry and mathematics. So this was a video made for the NEET 2020 aspirants. So best of luck to all NEET 2020 aspirants. Hope you guys will give the best exam. And thank you.